Hello. Hello.
Ramkesh sir. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Vandana, just handle out.
Ramkesh is also there, but phone, but I think mute. It's mute.
Hello, man.
Just. Okay, Ramkesh, just over to you.
Yeah, just give me 2 minutes, please.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. We would like to see you all also. So, if possible, kindly video on kar lijiye apna. So, it will be an interactive kind of session also. Before start book review, we just want to know about you.
Vandana, just a minute. Ramkesh is handling out.
Okay.
I think that he's.
पार्टिसिपेट 12 ही हैं.
Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening, Dr. Vandana.
कैसे हैं सर?
All smarty people, I have come to see you all.
सर आपने ज्वाइन किया, अच्छा लगा सर.
मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है seeing you all growing so well.
बस सर blessings of yours, आप लोगों की blessings है.
ये डॉक्टर वंदना तो मतलब she is one of the top class speakers and in OTA here in she has been doing so well. I got her introduced at one time there.
Thank you so much,
Where
sir.
I was the visiting faculty there.
We are here to listen Veena ma'am के reviews सुनेंगे अभी हम book reviews.
Very good. How nice.
Right, sir.
Hello, Lamaji.
Hi, Ramkesh. Good evening. How are you, Smarty?
Sir, all good. How are you?
Special seeing you all smiling and blushing with confidence, you know. Yeah.
Very good evening to all of you, dear participants who have joined in today's meeting for ISTD Jaipur chapter. First of all, on behalf of ISTD Jaipur, I heartily welcome you all on this evening session on book review.
क्या बात है.
So before we start our session, we can have a network session. So I request participants, I will call one by one. So you can introduce yourself for the benefit of all of our attendees today. So once we finish with that introduction, we can start with our session. The time is around 7:59. Is it okay, Vandana ma'am?
7:30 शुरू होना था यार.
Actually, the timing was for the Zoom meeting, just to set up the meeting. We have fixed that 7:30 sort of thing. Actual timing was mentioned in the poster. That is 7:59 to 8:45 precisely. But anyway,
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, sir. आप वैसे तो मिलते नहीं, अब हम यहीं आपसे मिल लेते. बाकी सब लोग मेंबर्स से भी हम यहाँ मिल लेंगे ऑनलाइन. The new faces,
ये meeting होगी.
they all are here.
This is a half an hour for meeting of mind. Very good. Wise people do so. Very good. How nice. Otherwise, it's difficult to meet.
So can we introduction one by one? First of all, I would like to invite Ms. Navita Khanna. Can you please introduce for the benefit of all?
Yes, yes. So I am Navita Arora Khanna. I'm from Ujjain. I'm a corporate trainer. And I have joined this because of Rajesh sir. I saw his status on WhatsApp and I was pretty inquisitive. And I work with the ICAI, that is the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and EPFO. So I trained there. And yeah, recently I also did a book review. And the name of the book is The Courage to be Disliked. So I was pretty interested in seeing, how book reviews are done. I am new to this, but I'm an avid reader. I love reading as well as traveling. This is about me.
Okay, thank you for your introduction. And we
Thank
are
you.
it's so proud that you have joined from Ujjain. So that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
So the idea of this webinar is people from various geographic location can join and they can get benefit of this awareness knowledge sharing session. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me here.
Keep on joining us. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Just tell us about your profile so that we can also organize your session for the benefit of ISTD.
Sure, sir. Why not? Yes, sir.
Can we have next Miss Alka Bage? Can we have your introduction, please?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alka Baga. I'm here in UK, and I'm joining because I heard from Dr. Veena K. Arora about this book review. I was quite intrigued. I run my own software company for about 35 years now and was quite interested in knowing what your group does and be involved a little bit in there. Thank you for having me and passing the link to me to be a part of this lovely journey of yours.
Fantastic.
Thank you. ISTD Jaipur chapters, this new beginning in the very first meeting, or in fact, in the very second introduction, we have participants from the across the globe. In fact, great to have
Great.
participation, the spirit. Thank you so much, man.
Alka is great.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure to be here.
Thank you, ma'am. Hope you will have a great learning exposure experience ahead in our session by Dr. Veena, ma'am.
Absolutely looking forward to that, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. So, thank you, ma'am. Next, I would like to ask Dr. Arpita Datta. Can you please introduce yourself?
Very well.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Arpita. Good evening.
Hello, sir. How are you doing?
Special finding you. Great.
Thank you so much.
How nice.
With the Bangalore chapter of ISTD, and I'm a National Council member. Have been associated since 2016 with ISTD in different capacities. So I'm a corporate trainer, executive coach. And so that's about me in brief. And I love reading. And since, it's about book review, I jumped into the session. I actually was into another session from 7. But, this is an interesting one. So I hopped into this. I'm looking forward to learn more from Dr. Veena about how to do book review. In fact, I do workshops on certain books. So I don't think this is going to be a workshop model. But however, I just want to know how differently we can do. There's always a learning, and there are different changes in approaches. So there is a learning in every bit of
Arpita,
it.
fantastic.
So I'm looking forward. I can't wait to hear from you. I know it's 10 of us, and if 10 of us are taking 2 minutes each, it will be 20 minutes. Do we have time? I'm waiting to listen. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Arpita. And we are great to have a NC member in our very first meeting in Jaipur chapter. Thank you so much. And thanks for your introduction. So next we have Ms. Kartavya Mittal. Can we have your introduction, please? Yes, go ahead.
Hello, good morning. I am pursuing MBA from R.A. Podar Institute of Management, Jaipur, under the guidance of Mr. Dr. Pawan Kumar Sharma, sir.
Okay.
Under his guidance, I have received all informations, and under very, very helpful. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Katavya. Sorry. Thank you that the personal contacts people are joining. So that's good. That shows your learning spirit and how eager you are to know more about the session. Thank you so much. Before moving ahead, let me ask MG, the name MG. Would you please like to introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Ramkesh. I am Gunjan Mathur, based out of Bangalore, working for Accenture. I received this invite from Rajan Arora. He is one of my close friends. And I thought to join is because first time I am joining this session, so this kind of session. So it is more of a learning for me. So over here, like fly on the wall to learn the things and see how we can collaborate.
Thank you, MG. I think you're the true symbol of that learning never ends. Wherever possible, we keep on learning. So that's great. Again, you joined from Bangalore. Good. Thank you. Keep on enjoying the session. So next we have Harshita. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hello. Good evening, everyone. I am Harshita from Noida, and I am a fourth-year law student. And the main purpose for joining this session was because I actually love to read books, and it was a book review, so I thought, why not join this session? So that's it.
Fantastic.
Good. You love reading book, so that's great. I think I know about book reading means it connects it clears the difference between conscious mind and subconscious mind. N number of benefits, but one I really like. So maybe that will be helpful for you, reading book, hobby. And when we conclude that book and when we share that wisdom of that book with someone, is what all about in this session by Dr. Veena Madam. So that is actually transiting that information into some intelligence or some wisdom for the benefit of all. So great going, Harshita. Keep on with your hobby.
Yes.
Next. Thank you. All the best wishes for your career as well.
Thank you.
Next we have Anirudh Methi. Can we have your introduction, please? Okay, meanwhile, let me also introduce myself. So before I ask introduction for our stalwarts, so I am Ramkesh Meena, life member, ISTD. In fact, I was earlier with ISTD Vadodara chapter as a secretary for 3 years, then MC members. I am working as superintending engineer with ONGC Limited at Mumbai offshore. I am life member of NIPM IET. I'm having good exposure of that technical training, cyber security, especially well-being, that I can say digital well-being as well as mental well-being, especially beyond obvious, something about dreams, achieve what you want, like that type of topics. And apart from that, I love to do volunteer activities wherever I found opportunity for imparting knowledge sharing or any volunteer act in my best of my capacity. So this is one of my habit, and I am here to coordinate this meeting as well. So that's all about me. You. So can we have our NC member, Mr. Pawan Kumar Sharma, sir? Good evening, sir.
Ramkesh, thank you very much for giving the opportunity.
Great to see you, sir. Can we have your brief introduction for the benefit of all?
Yeah, it is nice to see very senior persons in the group, and just well-known people from ISTD are available there on the screen. So good to see. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult in the cities to meet personally. As the new initiatives of ISTD Jaipur chapter, the book review is one of the activities which have been initiated, and it's nice that Rajesh has took the initiative and started immediately within a couple of days. They started. I'm professor of management, and after having 40 years of experience in the academics, I got superannuated, and now I'm at Jaipur. This is all about me. And I have also been a student of Professor S.K. Chakraborty. And surprisingly, whatever the thought process he had in the mind about translating the spirituality for the management students. So I'm witness to it since 1992, 93. So that is the background, and I got my own interest in understanding the version of the management by values. Because unless a person is value loaded, it becomes very difficult to survive. He may live the lengthy life, but the survival with reference to the fitness of the goodness, that will be missing in the entire life. So just for that purpose, I got a passionate attitude to learn about the spiritualism and the well-being emotionally. That is the basic reason. Colonel Saab is nice. He is also present here. Colonel Saab, namaskar.
Namaskar, bhai, Dr. Saab.
Right, sir. Okay, thank you very much. And it is nice that Navita from Ujjain is there. And I also served in Vikram University in Management Institute for 7 years. So it is
Oh,
nice.
lovely.
Yeah.
What a
With
coincidence.
Nageshwara.
World is down.
I worked with Nageshwara in JNIBM Ujjain, Vikram University. And Arpita is also seen here from Bangalore. So all the guests are there in the group. Right. Nice meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Jaipur chapter is having fortune to have you as a NC member and as a guidance.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much with your vast experience, exposure in ISTD as well as in management. Thank you. Next, can we have introduction of Harshita, I think? Devesh Chauhan. Okay. So, can we have, I think we don't need any much introduction about our veteran Lieutenant Colonel retired Joginder Singh Lambaji, but for the benefit of, I request Sri Lambaji to please.
It's a good one. Very kind of you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a proud privilege to be amongst the big and sharp young minds. I know a few of you. Arpita is one, and likewise many other. And this young lady, Dr. Veena, has been a trainer of repute. And while I was the visiting faculty in OTA, I took her there and she took on in a big way. And likewise with ISTD, I served for 25 years and NIPM as well. So my interest has been from the army to coming to the civil academic world was to learn from the young minds what is prevailing, what kind of psyche they live with. A soldier, I am a 78 years old soldier, and I'm very keen to learn from the young mind, but I do not wish to remain connected every day's affair in their various forums, such WhatsApp group here and there and different things. So I have detached myself on that front. However, I'm very keen to learn whenever there is a program of this nature, and I wish such programs is a great success you will make. Look at the people from different countries. I mean, across seas they have joined you, and likewise, person like Arpita and many more those whom I have interacted. It is something special to be on this platform today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And for your information that we in ISTD, most of the person, just because of the guidance of Joginder Singh Lambaji guidance, with the pillar of ISTD Jaipur, and in fact have vast or in fact decades of experience guidance in ISTD as well as in its career. So thank you so much, sir, for guiding us, motivating us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think it's time to go ahead with our session. So next we have our honorary secretary, dynamic secretary, Vandana Chaudhary ma'am. You can also introduce.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Vandana, and I'm NCRT certified counseling psychologist, and I take sessions in Jaipur. specialization in adolescent psychology with so take the sessions with adolescent and the parents. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. And next we have our chairman, Dr. Rajesh Methi. Before inviting him, I request him to first please introduce yourself, and then you can also deliver welcome note and concept note for this session for the best interest of time. So I would like to invite Dr. Rajesh Methi ji, please.
Thank you. Rakesh, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, but
Rakesh,
not.
am I audible?
Yes, you are audible,
I'm
but not visible well.
in the car now. Just I am reaching to my office.
Okay.
So thanks a lot. This side, Dr. Rajesh Methi.
Sir, if you want to take time, you can.
Just within 2 minutes, I am reaching to my office.
Okay. Let me introduce our today's speaker. You take your time, please. Huh?
Okay. Just within 2 minutes. I am parking my vehicle and just
take your time. Meanwhile, we can have introduction of the name, participant name Samsung Asham. Can you please identify?
Okay, sir. Thank you, Ram.
So, whomsoever with the name Samsung Asham. Okay. First of all, once again, very good evening to all of you and welcome to this very first session of ISTD Jaipur chapter in this new body. And very good, very hearty welcome to Dr. Veena K. Arora, who took initiative and challenge and prepared herself for within couple of days for this session. So thank you, ma'am, for accepting this invitation.
Thank you, everyone.
And leading
Thanks a
from
lot.
front that as well. So before let me introduce our today's speaker for the session. So let me share my screen where you can see my screen visible, please.
पढ़ा नहीं जा सकता यार, बहुत छोटा है.
Okay. Let me spell it out. So Dr. Veena Arora, K. Arora ma'am, first of all, she is our NC member. She is representing Jaipur chapter at national level. She is having around 27 years plus experience, and her best achievements is like she was awarded by Indian Society of Training Best Trainer in 2017 by ISTD. She awarded International Woman Entrepreneur Award in 2024 in L&D Consultancy. She also got award from Vice President of India in 2003 and 4 by the Best Faculty of the Year Award. So many congratulations, ma'am. Her expertise, Dr. Veena expertise is one wide range of areas: resilience building, management, ethics, value, interpersonal relationship, communication, team building, and whatnot. IQ, EQ, MQ, and 3T, like so, n number of topics. She's having expertise on them. Her experience was she empowered thousands of individuals, trainers, freelancers, students, corporates, and she's having the academic background like BA honors, MBA, PhD. She also cleared UGC NET and further expertise in University of California and lot many experience. She also certified trainer under MEPSC in 2021 to 23. So n number plethora of experience, expertise, and diverse exposure. So today we are lucky that Dr. Veena Arora ma'am will be sharing her wisdom nuggets with us in the form of decoding the book review. So ma'am, that's all about the profile of our today's speaker, Dr. Veena Arora ma'am. So thank you, ma'am, for having the great exposure experience and sharing with us. I hope Dr. Rajesh Methi is now available.
Yes, Ramkesh, thanks a lot for giving me space Actually, Jaipur is to take hot cats and dog rain in Jaipur today started, and I was enjoying that one during the way. So just I reached. First of all, welcome to all of you on behalf of ISTD Jaipur chapter. Or someone asked me, why you are choosing this one title for this one program, Decoding Wisdom. So just like that, with the this one is a new initiative of Jaipur chapter, book review in a different way. Just like Arpita ji from the Bangalore told about that one, we can do in a different manner also. So salute to Dr. Veena Arora. She took a first attempt at here within a 2 days or 3 days, and we are going to see this one book with her wisdom, because she also have her own experiences. So we are going to start this one series, monthly series, or might be more books if in a different manner. Recently, yesterday I got another one ideas about the book review, but next time we will follow these one. So without taking much time, I would like to invite Dr. Veena Arora for putting her wisdom to us, to enlighten us. And I'm not giving my introduction at now, because we have just 8:03 at now. So at the last, we can discuss about that one. Over to Dr. Veena K. Arora.
Thank you, Dr. Methi, the Jaipur chapter chairman. And I would like to, also welcome to this session all my fraternal colleagues, the professionals who are here to learn. But let me put it across that I'm also going to learn a lot from you, I'm sure, because we all believe that learning is a continuous process. And I would also, thank Colonel Lamba and Pawan sir to be present today in this session, besides Alka ji and Ramkesh ji and Vanna ma'am. So right away, I would like to talk about this book and why I chose this book. Look, I was a management faculty in one of the MBA institutes since 1997. And I used to do a part-time job in another MBA institute where they said they wanted the students to understand this book, Management by Values, and they wanted a faculty to decipher and teach it to the students so that students could become ethical budding managers in times to come. So that was way back, I believe, in 2001 that I read this book for the first time. And thereafter, I have been referring to it again and again throughout my training sessions. And it has really helped me develop a lot of insights and practical application too I have found from it. So I will be sharing my screen so that you would have a visual as well, because we all know there are different types of learners, audio, visual, auditory, so kinesthetic. So Ramkesh ji, can I share my screen? Have you given me the rights?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, you can.
Okay. So I'm just about to share my screen. I've prepared a presentation so that it is easier for us all to imbibe. Just let me know, can you see the screen? My PPTs?
Yes, ma'am, it's about to get visible. Yeah,
Okay.
it's visible.
Yeah, open.
You
Yeah,
can keep it
okay.
in full screen mode.
Right. So now, talking about the session flow of this book review, I have divided off this book review into 5 parts, and some of the parts are very short and the others would take some time. So there would be an introduction and a summary of chapters, which are 12 in number. Then there would be an analysis and evaluation with critical assessment, and then the conclusion. Although I believe that the chapter chairman would also be concluding the session, so I may not take much time for that. Now, starting off right away with the introductory part of the book review, I would start by saying that, of course, the title of the book which I'm reviewing today is Management by Values Towards Cultural Congruence. So this is the complete title, and of course, the author has been Professor S.K. Chakrabarti. I was very happy to know that P.K. Sharma sir has been his student in the past. And can I have it as it was earlier, please? So the thing is that he was a professor with IIM Kolkata, and he was, besides being a professor, the author was an institution builder, eminent thinker, management philosopher, knowledge-based developer, educator, trainer, and above all, a visionary leader. And to his credit, he has 40 books, all related to human values and ethics. The genre of this book is non-fiction, and it's related to management, business, and philosophy mainly. And Oxford University Press has been the publisher. It was originally published way back in 1991, and then a revised edition came out in 99. And as I mentioned, there are 12 chapters with a total of 322 pages, which are there. And the foreword has been given by a person from Norway, Per Gropol. The purpose of this book, we must understand prima facie. Why this book? Number one, it is trying to integrate traditional Indian values and philosophies with the modern management practices, which are the need of the hour, but without forgetting our value-based management. So the author has laid a lot of emphasis on cultural and ethical principles, which he recommends should find a good place in managing our enterprises, our organizations. And therefore, he has talked about cultural congruence also, because he believed that over a long period of time, we have been depending a lot on Western philosophy and Western practices. And therefore, we should refer to our roots because they are much better for us to adapt and continue. The intended readership or the target segment which this book is intended for is majorly entrepreneurs, business leaders, practicing managers, budding managers, students. So it would be of interest to all of them. And one thing I want to point out right in the beginning is that this book is very difficult to decipher and digest. So it takes quite some time. So if you are intending to read it in entirety, you would need to spend quite some time on understanding it as well. And the main premise of this book is that it says that we have long been depending on imported value systems from other countries like Japan, China, and America, and trying to copy them in the Indian context, which the author feels is not required. Our own culture, our own values are much better suited for our organizations to be run in a contemporary manner. So this is about the introduction. And now moving on to the second part of this book review, the chapter-wise summary I would be presenting to you, but in a pretty short manner, because there is a lot that the author has written about. Now, the first chapter of this book is titled Values for Indian Managers. Now, the traditional values which have been recommended by the author, they are like integrity, respect, community orientation. But at the same time, I would like to read out something that the author has mentioned as part of the deep structure. He says the Indian managers, they must emphasize values like respect. And why respect each other or the other people in the team or the seniors at the workplace or people back home? He says that the reason is because there is a divine enshrined in each one of us. So it is right in the beginning only he talks about the divinity which is there in each of us, and that is the reason that we should be respecting each other, not just the authority or the position that we are vested with, due to which we need to respect each other. Some other values which he has talked about in the deep structure of Indian ethos are cooperation and trust. He also mentions that jealousy leads to mental health deprivation. So we need to keep ourselves away from such negative emotions. Then in the values, he has also mentioned something like Chitta Shuddhi, which I will be dealing with you a little later, because Chitta Shuddhi, he has given a proper strategy that how the pure mind can be developed and how it helps us professionally. So that correlation will come a little later. So there are quite a few values which he has mentioned, but I wouldn't mention all of them here. Let's move ahead with what else is there in the first chapter. He also mentions in this chapter things like the cultural congruence in the business environment, which can be attained by two major things. One, he says, every manager will have to keep an eye on the economic goals and the accomplishment of the profit maximization principle that the businesses operate with. But he also recommends the ethical principles, which should not be lost sight of. So that's a very important recommendation of Professor Chakrabarty for the Indian managers. And then he says that if these two things are followed properly by the managers, not just the organization's performance is going to be impacted positively, but also the society's development is going to take place overall. So this was about the summary of the first chapter. The second chapter is titled Anatomy of Ethico-Moral Management. The author starts off with the fermentation process. And what he means by fermentation is, he says that there is always this fight going on between profit maximization and value-based approaches. So he mentions over here that values are as important as skills that we need at our workplace. So he says, just as the technical skills or the human skills or the design skills are required for the different level of managers, similarly, we need values also to be inculcated in all the managers if you really want to achieve efficiency and effectiveness in a very holistic manner. Then he has given glimpses of Indian backstage, where he says, why is he having to talk about values even in 91, and I feel even today in 2024 it is the same reason why I have taken up this book review. So from the Indian backstage, he has given 15 different examples from his clients, because he was a consultant to many companies and he was also a trainer. So he's given 15 examples. I've just picked up one of them to make it clear why values need to be inculcated and ethics and morals need to be talked about today. So the example goes like this. A young manager scolds a worker for gross dereliction of duty. The latter means the worker, he stealthily puts a new spare part in the dicky of the manager's car. And when the manager is being run through the security men while leaving work that day, he is caught, charge sheeted, and finally dismissed with board approval. So what does this tell us? This tells us that the morals of the employees at different levels are deteriorating. And because they are deteriorating, the ethics are not being followed, then ultimately the organization suffers. So he argues that we need to have a very strong foundation for ethical management practices. So going further in the second chapter, he has talked about the pilgrim path. Onto the pilgrim path. Now, what is this pilgrim path that he has talked to us about? He says that every individual, every employee who's working in any organization should decide on one ishtam, or the Ishtadev, as he calls them. So it could be Buddha, it could be Ram, it could be Nanak Dev, it could be Christ, it could be Ramakrishna or Shiva or anybody. Now, why this visualization of the Ishtam is required? Professor Chakrabarty says that it helps us see and inculcate the qualities of this Ishtam in ourselves, so that we don't go on the wrong path. And it also helps us see this Ishtam in others also, which means that these spiritual entities should be visualized in other people also, so that we can be compassionate towards them, we can cooperate with them, we can empower them, and we can help them grow. So this is one aspect of the pilgrim path. Now, there was this, matrix which he has developed, which I just want to decipher in front of you. On the top, he's talked about organizations ethics, and on the left-hand side, the vertical there, he has talked about the members ethics. Now, the first quadrant is where he says, there might be an organization where the ethics are very high for the organization, but the members' ethics are also high. So this is a very desirable congruence and an alliance, which is a win-win situation for the organization, also for the employee working there also. Now, if you move to the second quadrant, he says that when the organization's ethics are low, the standards are very low, but the employee standards are high, it creates a problem. there is an incongruence, and it is very agonizing for the employee who's working there, because he's not able to deal with that low standard which is showcased everywhere in the organization culture. Moving to the third quadrant is where the organization's ethics are high, but the employees' ethics are low. Naturally, it is again a problematic condition, because the employee having low standards or ethics will need to reform himself either according to the high organizational standards, or he will need to quit, or she will need to quit. And the fourth quadrant is where the organization and the employee both have low standards of ethics, and this is least desirable because it leads to all the scams and the corruption and the red tapeism that we read about in the newspapers, or some of us experience also. So this is also congruent, because organization and employee are having similar ethics standards which are low, but it is an unholy alliance which needs to be avoided. So this was the crux of the second chapter. Now, because we have paucity of time, I would go a little faster by leaving out some of the aspects. So moving on to the third chapter, that is from self in the lower case to self in the higher case. The author has clarified that we people who are working with different types of organizations need to ascend from pettiness to dignity. So how do we do that? But before that, I have made a diagrammatic representation of how we can do that. So he says that the self in the lower case represents ego. Many a times, we all work and we see that amongst colleagues, there is an ego problem. Why should I talk to him? Let him come to me, etc. So he says this is pettiness. So ego, or the thoughts, emotions, which are very segregating us from others, and we are having a lot of ambitions and achievements and personal gains. In this case, we are self in the lower case. But then he says we need to escalate to self in the uppercase, so capital letters SELF. Now, what is that? He says that is a kind of mindset where the universal consciousness needs to be realized. So a concept like Vasudev Kutumbakam needs to be borne in mind by the employees, and then only they would feel interconnected with each other and cooperate and collaborate just like the World Wide Web. So this diagram which I had to show you, the first step is we need to move from lowercase self to uppercase self, that is embracing everyone. Second thing, what happens is when we move to the uppercase self and we are taking care of people and considering the unity or the interconnectedness, then the pure mind or the chitta shuddhi takes place, and it supports the development of values in our character. And if these three things are done, managerial effectiveness comes about. It just cannot be stopped. So this is, the conclusion which he has given in the third chapter. And he says that ultimately, if we want to work well with our teams, we need to have the collective focus from lowercase self to uppercase self. Moving on to the fourth chapter, management by values programs. Now, a qualitative appraisal. In this particular chapter, Professor Chakrabarti has talked about developing training programs for top management of many organizations that he was consulting for. And he says that these training programs can easily be divided into three parts. So he's given certain recommendations, and it is very useful for trainers and coaches like us, that what are these modules under management by values. So the first module focuses on value awareness. The second one focuses on value alignment. And the third one talks about the application of these values. So overall, he's given a very holistic approach that if the top management of organizations are able to take these three modules, they would have a top-down approach, and all the people down in their organizations would benefit from these. So now I would read out to you what are these three modules, how they are structured, because I'm sure a lot of us who are trainers would be more interested in this as well. The first module that he has talked about is focusing on mind purification or chitta shuddhi. So he says how karma, sanskars, giving rather than grabbing kind of mindset is going to open up the horizons for the top management to move further. The second module that he has designed and recommended in this book is leadership and teamwork. So where he talks about the qualities which leaders should have and qualities which the team members should also showcase, and then it helps both. And third and the last module that he has recommended is managing stress, communication, and counseling. So he has given three-pronged strategy. He says move from vikshep, which means stress, to samatva, which means collective benefit, to anand, the bliss that we will be able to achieve if we follow. And when there is bliss or ananda, there is no scope for stress. So this is about the fourth chapter. Then we move on to the fifth one, the socio-cultural change and managers' travails. Here, basically, he has talked about the cultural changes which are happening in the society, which are making it necessary for managers to adapt and move with the time. So he's talked about cultural sensitivity and the diversity which needs to be respected. And he has here introduced the concept of value-based leadership. So, this is one place where he talks about adapting to change. And that when we have modules on change management, when I deliver that for some of my clients, I always refer to this book because he's given a lot of insights into change management. Again, here, I would like to read about two concepts that he has talked about in terms of, goal and progress. So these two concepts are very interesting. I feel I should read out. He says the true goal of human life is perfection. To bring out the perfection means coming up with our maximum or maybe optimum potential that we possess as individuals. And the second concept that he has talked about is a very unique way of expressing progress. He says, what is progress? If you say I'm progressing in life, or I say I'm progressing in life, what do we mean by it? He has said progress means three things put together. Number one, he talks about inner balance. Am I able to have an equanimous mind under different types of circumstances? Do I have that self-regulation and equanimity? Second thing he has recommended is harmony. Am I at peace? Or I am always worked up with the smallest of provocation? And third thing he talks about is purity. So he says, when you have a combination of inner balance, harmony, and purity, then you can be confident of saying that I am progressing. So that was a beautiful thing which I learned from his book. Now in the sixth chapter, social values and individual attitudes, he has demarcated between whether we should have behavior guiding our attitude and then forming our values required for the corporate world, or should it be the other way around, which he says VAB, that is, we first develop the right type of values which guides our attitude and which further guides our behavior towards other people. So he has clearly said VAB is more superior than BAV. And then he's talked about a spectrum of changes which are taking place. For example, some of the changes that he has talked about is that people are moving from selflessness to selfishness. They are forgetting about the duties, but concentrating only on their rights. And one thing which I really liked in this book was, he said, people are giving up humility and becoming more arrogant. So this is one of the changes that, he has given an example for. In fact, he's given an example for all the changes, live examples. But this humility to arrogance, he's given a beautiful example. Let me share this with you from his book. He says, a few years ago, L.K. Advani, recounting his experiences in the early days of Indian Parliament, narrated an episode which was to him a battle of courtesies between Shyama Prasad Mukherjee and Jawaharlal Nehru. In contrast, now he's talking about the changes. Today we have battles of arrogance in the most hallowed institutions of our democracy, be it the parliament or the universities and the rest. And although he was himself professor with IIM, he mentioned that such type of arrogance is so evident in IIM graduates that I see more often nowadays. So, he has talked about these major changes which are coming about in our society. And the conclusion is, he says, we need to continuously reflect and adapt and align our personal values with whatever organization we are working for and the vision and objectives of that organization. The 7th chapter, he has given a very beautiful concept, which I always try to remind myself and adapt to, is detached involvement, where he's talked about work ethics and ethics in work. Now, what is this concept of detached involvement? Let me discuss with you. He says that we need to be deeply involved in our work. And that is what involvement is all about, because if we are working, we have to give our 100%. We have to ensure excellence in whatever we do. But at the same time, he's used the word detachment, because he says we need to detach ourselves from the results or the expectations. Because I work so hard, so I expect this, this, and this. He says, no. We should not be attached to the results or the outcomes, and that is the concept of detached involvement. He also mentioned about the Gita, and he said that concepts like karm karo par phal ki ichha na rakho is what detached involvement is all about. So that was another thing that he has emphasized. And before ending this chapter, he has also talked about cultivating inner resilience, bouncing back on your own, not waiting for people outside to pep you up or give you a pep talk. He says that we all face ups and downs in life. And when at the workplace there is politics, there is power struggle, we are bound to feel low. But we need to pick up our own selves and bounce back. Especially advancing despite adversity is what he has recommended. So this was about the 7th chapter. Ramkeshji, how much time do I have? Is he here?
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
Up to 8:35.
Up to 8:35. Okay, so which means I have about 7 minutes, right? I'll be able to wind up, no issues. So in the 8th chapter, he's talked about sacred and secular, some symbiosis. So what is sacred and what is secular? I have spelled it out clearly to you for you on the slide. Now, by sacred, he means our spirituality or the higher values which we embody, like integrity, compassion, ethical behavior. And on the other hand, he says secular, that is, the materialistic matters also cannot be negated, because we are living within the boundaries of a society and an organization. So profitability, efficiency, competition also need to be considered. So the sacro-secular symbiosis has been recommended by him, which says that harmonize the sacredness in yourself, that is the spirituality and the ethical aspect of your personality, along with the secular aspects, that is the profitability, which you should keep in mind. Otherwise, the organizations will cease to exist. And then he has also talked about the need for sadhana. So he's talked about certain breathing techniques, mindfulness, which help us remain resilient and also help us, do self-reflection and have an ethical living. So basically, it keeps us on the right path. So he concludes this chapter by saying, why lose the paradise? Which means that if we give up the spiritual aspects, then we will lose sight of all the good things which are inherent in our personalities. The 9th chapter is titled Hierarchism as an Organizational Value. The issue here is that should hierarchy be confused with a lot of authority? Although he says it is culture-specific context, culture-specific content is there. So in hierarchy, he simply says that authority should not be used much by the people, because he says that the refurbished hierarchism for India is placed on flexibility, adaptability, besides ethical leadership. So he's again talked about not having very, tall hierarchies or very formal type of bureaucratic hierarchies, but about flexibility and adaptability. Then we move on to the 10th chapter, which is about rediscovering Indian psychology for managers. So he says there's a lot of confusion because we have been impacted a lot in our readings, in our curriculum by the Western psychology. If you remember, you and I also, we talked about Maslow and Herzberg and all the Western authors, right from Freud to others. So he says that this is confusing for the Indian managers. So the Indian psychology of Anand, he has proposed. So he says inner happiness is the biggest goal of all goals, and that should be our moral compass, which should guide us to take the right type of decisions. Ananda, he has also defined in way of mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. So we are talking about mental health and well-being today. As important it was in 91 also, where he wrote about mental well-being and spiritual well-being besides emotional well-being. So again, the tools that he has proposed for these is meditation and self-reflection. Then we move on to the 11th chapter, where he talks about metaphysical empiricism in leadership and institution building. And he's taken the role model of Swami Vivekananda. Sometimes he's mentioned Sri Aurobindo also. So now, what is this metaphysical empiricism? So it's a very, very, complicated term, but I've tried to simplify it. He says, when we have spiritual wisdom clubbed with practical action, then we are able to attain metaphysical empiricism. So he talks about grounded leadership, very humble, very down to earth for institution building. And that's where he's taken up insights from Vivekananda, like selflessness, vision, courage, inspiration, and uplifting others, empowering others, which Vivekananda had talked about. Talking about nation building, he has also talked about empowering individuals and also communities. So the concept of CSR also was in a way introduced by him, but not in so many words. And the conclusion is, he says, classical love and discipline. Now, what is this classical love? It is that deep sense of compassion that we feel towards others that we are working with at the workplace. And discipline means self-regulation. We need to adhere to a particular routine and balance out our day-to-day time and efforts that we make. The last chapter is rising from Yayati syndrome to Atmik Purnatva. Now, what is this Yayati syndrome? Now, if you would remember, Yayati was a person who was the second son of King Nahusha. And his elder brother Yati had become an ascetic and he had gone away to the forest. Now, this Yayati, this person Yayati, he has been an epitome of youth and beauty and courage. And he falls into this endless a sense of gratification or materialistic enjoyments. So he marries a woman and he falls in love, he enjoys his life in every way possible, but he also gets into an extramarital affair with her maid. And then he's given a shrap, he is, doomed, and his son, Kuru, helps him out. Now, then, he loses everything in his prime. He gets it back and he ultimately attains heavenly abode. Now, why this reference of Yayati has been made by Professor Chakrabarti? That has been to symbolize the insatiable desires and attachments that we have in today's materialistic world. It is an unending, unending desires and ambitions that the managers today are nurturing in themselves. And that is what he says that we need to give up. And that is the reason of all our stress. And therefore, where do we move from here? If we give up this ambition, too much of ambition, he's not saying don't be ambitious, but then he says too much of focus on ambition and materialistic things should be given up. So we move from Yayati to Purnatva. So what is this Atmik Purnatva? It is the ultimate goal for mental health, where we prioritize our inner peace and self-realization. So this is the conclusion of the 12th chapter. If I do a critical analysis, which was very difficult to do, the first strength that I found in this book was cultural integration, because he talked about the American, Japanese culture vis-a-vis the Indian cultures, and he gave a very fresh perspective for the Indian culture and Indian managers and organizations, and the blend of traditional values with modern management. Secondly, the focus on ethical leadership could be seen throughout the book, because he has emphasized that without ethics, without chitta shuddhi, nothing can happen. And thirdly, he took a very holistic approach where he said that financial and profit maximization kind of principles need to be adhered to, along with psychological and spiritual upliftment and well-being of the employees as well. Now, it was very difficult for me to find the weaknesses, because a great, book has been written by Professor Chakrabarti. So I felt, but still, for book review, we have to look at critical analysis. So if I would say one of the things which I found difficult was the complex terminology. In fact, some of the pages, some of the paragraphs, I had to read twice or thrice also to get the crux of it. It was quite difficult for me. And the concepts were also very spiritual and metaphysical, which at times seemed abstract for me to digest. Second limitation, which I felt, was the practical application. Although Professor Chakraborty has given a lot of strategies, yet practically it seems a little difficult for an ordinary employee to apply in the real world what all he has recommended in entirety. And thirdly, I saw the cultural specificity in his writing, which was focused only on the Indian culture. Of course, people from other cultures could also absorb from it, but it has reduced or limited the scope of this book in the global or the international readership. And lastly, if I talk about the critical assessment and how this book has helped me, I found it very useful. I remember when I first read this book about 2 decades back, more than that, I learned this beautiful mantra, which he said, Om Javakusum Shankasham Kashyapayam Mahadyutim Dhantarim Sarva Papaghanao Ranthosmi Divakaram, where Professor Chakrabarti has said that even if in geography and in science we learn about the sun god, the details about the sun as the center of our universe, and the kind of miles that it is away from us, all those facts and figures are okay. But do we see sun as the sun god, and we invoke his blessings to make us as Ojasvi and Tejasvi as the sun himself? So, that was something I really learned from him, that it's not just about looking at nature from a scientific or a geographical perspective, and we can see the effects of global warming when we don't do that. And secondly, I have personally learned that excellence is a state of mind. So I always remind myself, whatever I do, I have to give my 100% and do it to the best of my ability. That was another thing I learned from this book. Then the idea of detached involvement, chitta shuddhi, because I meditate and I understand what he means when he talks about sadhana. Then the ishtam, like I always think of Buddha as my ishta, and I try to inculcate what Buddha had in him in myself, and I try to see it in others also. And then one very important thing I learned from him was vidya dadati vinayam. We need to remain humble no matter how much of success we attain in life. And lastly, moving from selfishness to selflessness. That is what I have learned. Otherwise, there is contraction, and there is death. So for the conclusion, I would not say anything here. I would just leave it open for our chapter president, Dr. Methi, and I'm sure he can do that. So thank you very much. And if there are any questions, I'm ready to answer those.
Ramkesh, are you taking or should I be?
Yes, sir, you can.
What should I say about this one book? I was going through 1934 when Mr. G.D. Birla wrote a letter to Basant Kumar Birla. All of you heard about that one or not?
Sir, actually, I can't hear you clearly.
My voice is coming or not? Coming. Okay. So there was a one letter, so many times it recalling by so many people. Mr. G.D. Birla wrote to the Basant Kumar Birla. Have anyone read that one letter? Huh? Anyone read that one letter? There is a one letter, 1934. You people have to go through once. So what Vinaji told about all the things might be something new for you people, for some people. But this is a reality of the life. Sarir, Man, Buddhi and Atma. First of all, we put attention, whole attention on our body. Then Manoranjan, Sangeet, cinema. Then Buddhi Vilas, when we talk about some thoughts, and ultimately surrendership. So thanks a lot and such a wonderful starting today. Yes, other day Harsh Goanka shared on Twitter. Shivranji is telling about that one. Yes, sir. So this is open forum to all of us. Actually, we have seen a lot of things at here. How the life started and when a person can become a Buddha. How journey started. So first time I read any book on management which is talking by this one manner. Thanks a lot for enlightening us. And Jaipur chapter take a step towards this side. And what a wonderful start with the Indradev. He is playing outside of my window. And he also came on this one pious day of starting of a new thing. And Vinaji, I made a namaskar for especially which type of trainer you are and what is your depth. So without taking much time, this is an open forum to all of us because there is some stalwart, Mr. Lamba and Mr. P.K. Sharma ji and rest of the people, they have their own experiences. And instead of, you can quote these one books or you can share your experiences. In the morning, I was talking to someone about some business gharanas. One side is a Birlas and another side is a two famous business gharanas about that one. And what is the ideology of that one? Because in approximately 10 days back, one arrest was happened in the Jaipur about some ghutalas or some scam. So we were talking about that one. Why that fellow was arrested by someone, or that is ideologically dispute between two ideology. So I'm not going on that one. This is an open forum. One of my friend from the Ujjain, she's at here, Navita. She's also have a very good intellect and wisdom because so many times we met and we discuss about that one. So it's open to all of you. You can raise your hand. I can invite to you. But before that one, I would like to invite our Lighthouse Colonel Joginder Singh Ji Lamba to put his word on today's wisdom, which was we got enlightened by the eyes of Dr. Veena K. Arora's personal experiences and what in a perfect manner. Over to Lambaji.
Good evening once again. It has been a moving spectacle in true sense listening to Dr. Veena. She is I have said, speaker of repute, and this analytical study, so-called book review, which she has carried out in depth, and certain issues which she has brought out is fabulous and fantastic for all of us to learn and imbibe in our day-to-day life, as well as in the organization where we work. And she has very vividly brought out the factual facts of practical living in today's world, and then measuring it with the philosophy of life or certain spirituality, which comes about when the so-called those needs of Maslow's are fulfilled, and then you don't need even money. The bottom line is not there at that point of time. So therefore, the author has very well interwoven things beautifully, but he has from beginning to the end, the spectrum complete, while all of us undergo a change. So that part, application of that at very young age or middle age or later part of life, all that varies. You all will bear with me. And I would like to listen to these young minds, those who are sharp enough to understand the practicality of it in day-to-day life, where these are large number of you have come forward to listen to Dr. Veena. And book review as such is so beautifully done by her in a fashion that, not to be shy of critical analysis. That word may be changed. Otherwise, varied opinion, which we all have, and you all should have. Why not? Without which the things do not grow. So organizational strength is made by being together. I only have one word: being together. Maybe at home, an organized system, or to any organized organization like yours or volunteers, and anywhere which you are serving your, in any fashion. And you need all those Maslow's facet of life. So theory is applied, and I'm greatly grateful. My special thanks to Dr. Veena. And I came forward to listen to her when I saw her message to me, and that I must listen to her. And it has been what you all have heard her now. I have heard her full of exuberance. I want to share with you, the spirit has been soaring high, and that is still ringing in my ears. So thank you so much, Dr. Veena, and all the listeners, and thank you so much, and thank you, the chairperson, Mr. Rajesh, giving me opportunity to share my thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Colonel. Sir, if anyone have any question or if you have any doubt, sir, just I am coming, PK Sharma ji. So kindly raise your hand, or I require some scripting or some case. Keep it simple and short, so we can involve more people for this. So, Pawan ji, can you permit me? Can I invite Dr. Arpita ji?
Yeah, definitely.
After that, okay. Over to Dr.
Thank you. Thank you. So excellent narration of the entire book, Dr. Veena. I have just one question. As we are doing the book review, we are only discussing about what the author has actually included in the book in terms of experience, perspectives, opinions, examples, and so on. So do we have the scope as a trainer? Do we have the scope of putting or including our own experiences, own examples, or own perspectives and opinions on the top of what already has been mentioned in the book? Just to clarify further to the audience, can we do that?
Arpita, what I believe is that majorly we should stick to what the author has talked about in the book, what he has written. But if the concept is not very clear to the audience, generally what I do pitch in with my own examples to simplify it so that it becomes digestible. And but I clarified that this is not from the author's side, but I believe this is his interpretation, and I can give you an example related to that, so that the audience does not get confused. So there's no harm in that, because at the end of the day, understanding and sharing of knowledge should be in such a way that what's the purpose of that book review? They should be able to understand it. So that's my opinion.
Excellent. Thank you for the clarification.
Over to Professor PK Sharma.
Oh, thank you, Rajesh, for giving the opportunity, and really wonderful. It was totally mesmerizing. I was driving a car, and that too in the rainy season, but still I could not miss even a single word of her narrative. And I'm really happy to share one information that when we were taught by Professor Chakravarti in 1992-93, he started the Center for Human Values. That was the pioneering work, and he thought it appropriately that the Western wisdom may not work in the reality. Because it happens that when say for example the theory of motivation has been talking that what we get out of the work doing in the organization, he says no, think of what you are giving to the society, to the organization. The giving model of motivation is really inspiring. And as far as the literature scriptures are concerned, the Bhagavad Gita or Ramayana episodes have been narrated in the book. I'm really happy that the things which were initiated by Dr. Chakravarti has been implemented in the real life situation. And that was the mission, that let the Indian minds be trained with reference to the Indian scriptures. Number one. Number two, as far as India at national level is concerned, at international level is concerned, the same model is applicable, because people may not know about the Bhagavad Gita or Satkarma, Rajas Karma or the Tamas Karma, but definitely they know. Otherwise, the American situation would have been not that worst, because a Western model is applicable where there is maximum murders, maximum rapes, and maximum crimes. Compared to that, we in India have been happy. But unfortunately, when we are blindly following the Western model, it is not the sufficing solution of the problem. So let's concentrate upon the Indian model of wisdom. And he says, जिंदगी बड़ी सरल है, इसको complicated मत बनाइए. But by using the terminology of West, by using the phraseology of the West, using the अंग्रेजी, language is not the problem, but अंग्रेजियत दिमाग से जब हम काम करते हैं, that creates a problem. So wonderfully it has been narrated, and she has done the justice with Professor S.K. Chakravarti as well as with the book in opening up, unwinding the wisdom part of the book which has been mentioned. Thank you very much.
थैंक यू प्रोफेसर पीके शर्मा. ठीक कहा आपने, तामसिक, रासिक और सात्विक. कभी चर्चा करेंगे उस पर भी, जब लॉर्ड कृष्णा कहते हैं कि तमस में कब होते हो, कब रजस में होते हो और कब सात्विक हो जाते हो, या क्या तीनों का बैलेंस जरूरी है क्या, तो वही बातचीत करेंगे. चलिए, एनीवन, अनदर वन, नविता, वुड यू लाइक टू से? नविता भी क्या, छोटी उम्र में बड़ा ज्ञान है इनके पास में.
Sir, thank you. Thank you for the compliment. I love the book review. It was crisp and clear. It was in detail. It was chapter wise. It was wonderfully done. I mean, hats off to the speaker. A huge respect for her. Very nicely done.
चलिए, महाकाल की नगरी से हैं आप, तो
जी
प्रणाम
सर.
कीजिएगा महाकाल को हमारा.
बिल्कुल
अभी
सर.
किसी को पूछना हो तो एक क्वेश्चन और है, नहीं तो हम कंक्लूडिंग की तरफ जाएंगे. कंक्लूड नहीं करेंगे आज, तो क्या कहते हैं, एडजर्न करेंगे, फिर अगली यात्रा पे चलेंगे. So anyone would like to give any remark or anything else? You can put your ideas. Well, if you are just like metaphysics or meta world, today in the day we were talking about the Dr. Deepak Chopra's quantum healing or all the things, ethers or these things. So ये नए शब्द हो सकते हैं आपके लिए, लेकिन परमेश्वर आपको इस यात्रा पे ले आएगा तो शायद बहुत सारी चीजें समझ में आएगी. प्रोफेसर पीके शर्मा ने भी कहा कि 7000 साल पहले, 5000 साल पहले इस देश में बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जिसको जब हम सोचते हैं तो गूज बम्पिंग होती है. तो वीना जी ने आज उसकी शुरुआत की, और मुझे पता नहीं था, ये बुक मैंने पढ़ी नहीं, लेकिन मुझे पढ़नी पड़ेगी, और इतनी बेहतरीन तरीके से शुरुआत होगी. आज का रिव्यू है, हम थोड़ा देरी से, हर मीटिंग के बाद हम रिव्यू रखेंगे. रामकेश, 2 मिनट का बोल दूं मैं, फिर आपको हैंडेड ओवर कर दूंगा.
यस.
हमने बहुत कम समय में इसकी तैयारी की, तो ISTD जयपुर इसको ध्यान रखे. मैं मेरे को ही कह रहा हूँ, ये मानिए, हमारे मीटिंग के बाद रिव्यू करेंगे. वंदना जी ने अपने काम के साथ पूरा न्याय किया. शी जस्टिफाइड ऑल द थिंग्स व्हिच इज रिक्वायर्ड फॉर अ बुक रिव्यू. माइट बी सम मोर थिंग्स कैन बी एडेड इन दिस वन, डोंट वरी अबाउट दैट वन. तो सैल्यूट टू वीना जी फॉर दिस वन. सैल्यूट टू रामकेश, he did utmost effort to organize this one program today, and we have started something new in Jaipur. So, and a third one thing is that कि वो कहता है कि मेहमान नहीं आए तो फिर वो जो उत्सव मनाया जाएगा उसका महत्व क्या होगा. तो आप पूरे विश्व से आए और परमेश्वर हमारे साथ रहे, क्योंकि कार्यक्रम हमारा ठीक से चला. मैं भी आधे रास्ते गाड़ी चलाता चलाता आया, कहीं खड्डा था, 2 लोगों की गाड़ियां फंसी हुई थी, लेकिन मैं ठीक से आ पाया और सुन पाया पूरे प्रोग्राम को. तो निश्चित रूप से मित्रों, ये शुरुआत है. वैसे तो घर के आदमी का क्या सम्मान करे, लेकिन रामकेश हमारे इस कार्यक्रम के प्रोग्राम डायरेक्टर, तो उन्होंने कहा कि मीना जी को एक प्रशंसा पत्र भी दिया जाना चाहिए. तो मैंने कहा आज माफी मांग लेंगे, अगली मीटिंग में उन तक पहुंचा देंगे. तो निश्चित रूप से आप शामिल होइए. कुछ वो क्या कहते हैं, नॉन फिक्शन, फिक्शन, सेल्फ हेल्प बुक एंड अ स्पिरिचुअल बुक. वी वुड लाइक टू लिसन ऑल द पीपल इन ऑल एस्पेक्ट, है ना. वो कहते हैं कि जब आप अपने आप को खुला रखेंगे, सब दिशाओं से ज्ञान आपके अंदर आएगा, तो निश्चित रूप से आप सहज, सजग, सरल, सतर्क, सशक्त और सहकारी हो पाएंगे, है ना। अब अंग्रेजी इसकी आप कर लीजिएगा, माइट बी सम पीपल आर फेसिंग सर्चिंग सम न्यू वर्ड्स फॉर दिस, डोंट वरी, हिंदी भी उतनी आनी चाहिए जितनी अंग्रेजी आनी चाहिए। तो परमेश्वर की कृपा से हमारी टीम ने बहुत बढ़िया काम किया। वंदना, रामकेश, वो हमारी छोटी राजवी, उन्होंने बहुत बेहतरीन पोस्टर बनाया। तो वी आर हैव अ ग्रेटिट्यूड बीइंग अ चेयरमैन फ्रॉम माय साइड, और सबसे बड़ा ऑलमाइटी का, क्योंकि उनकी कृपा के बिना कोई काम नहीं होता है। ओवर टू प्रोग्राम डायरेक्टर रामकेश, डायनेमिक रामकेश मीना।
Thank you, Methi ji, for summarizing and giving it a review again for the session. In between, let me acknowledge the presence of our former chairman, Dr. Mukesh Vyas ji, Rajshri Jain madam, and Rajvi Arora, Devesh Chauhan ji also in between. Thank you for attending this. So thanks for the review. I think now I would like to invite our honorary secretary, Dr. Vandana ma'am, to propose vote of thanks. Over to you, Vandana ma'am.
Sure. As we conclude our first book review session, so first and foremost, I would like to a big thank you our Veena ma'am, respected Veena ma'am, to give a thoughtful review of a book named Management Values uh, by Dr. S.K. Chakrabarty, which really sparked a meaningful discussion and enriched our learning and deeper understanding of value in the organization. So thank you all of you for being here and making this session memorable. We hope you enjoyed the presentation, and so let's continue to cherish the joy of reading and the wealth of knowledge it brings. So thank you all of you. Thank you so much.
अनिल साहब कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं आप शायद? चलिए। So
just one message.
Yes.
I'm sharing link of our social media handles in the chat box. I request all members, if you haven't subscribed it or liked it, please like it. So it will help you to stay updated about the chapter activity. Please just one click on it.
रामकेश, तो आप सबका दिन शुभ हो, इसी कामना के साथ फिर मुलाकात हो।
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks all of you. Good night.
God bless you all. Thank you so much.